never a dull moment, right, with Donald Trump. And as Mark reports, these are his people, most recently RFK Jr., and he's going to try to put his people in place. Most likely, it seems, using this recess appointment in the Senate. What do you make of the last few days?
Well, I agree completely with Mark that Trump won the election. This is not a surprise in the sense of who he's putting in. There's probably one exception to the surprise, but these are
Gaetz.
folks that
you mean you were surprised by Gaetz? That's what you're alluding to?
Yeah, that was a surprise, I think, pretty much to everyone. Yeah. But beyond that, they were there. He signaled RFK is going to be in his cabinet, have major roles, Elon Musk, and on down the list. Now, I think there's two things to keep in mind. One, on the recess appointment, this is a dramatic change from Senate precedent. Once this is done, if it is done under the Trump administration, you're breaking from long-held tradition. Maybe that's a good thing, but that's going to really bypass the Senate major role in the hearings and bringing out facts and making a deliberative decision. I've been through 3 Senate confirmations in my public career. They're not fun. They need to be reformed. It needs to be quicker. And that's exactly what Donald Trump is trying to do.
Right.
Now, on the recess appointment, some of these are controversial figures, and some of the senators actually don't want to take a vote on those if they're coming up for re-election anytime soon, because it's going to be wrapped around their neck. So they may go to Thune and say, yes, hey, go ahead and do a recess appointment here. Let him do that, because that way we don't have to actually vote on it. Right. And so there's Senate motivation as well. And then just the other thing to keep in mind, these are critical appointments, but you better watch the deputy positions. From Deputy Attorney General to Deputy HHS, those are the ones that run day-to-day operations in these departments. And I expect really to have some management skill in those positions if Trump wants to accomplish his agenda.
That's a very interesting point. Let me come back to that in a moment. Trump is out, the president-elect, with his own statement about RFK Jr. Says he's thrilled to announce Kennedy as the United States Secretary of Health and Human Services. For too long, Trump writes on social media that Americans have been crushed by the industrial food complex and drug companies who've engaged in deception, misinformation, and disinformation when it comes to public health. The safety and health of all Americans, most important role of any administration. HHS will play a big role helping ensure everybody's protected from harmful chemicals, pollutants, pesticides, pharmaceutical products, and food additives that have contributed to an overwhelming health crisis in this country. So that's from the president-elect on Kennedy. Quick thought on that. I think your point about the deputies is really important, especially at the Department of Justice. Right? I'm just thinking back to the last time around and the role of the Deputy Attorney General in any administration. Maybe it doesn't get as much publicity, but that's a huge role, right?
Well, they look down to the department. They're the ones that can accomplish efficiency and keep the department running on time. Critical positions. And whenever you're looking at HHS, sure, it is vaccines, it is all of the regulatory environment, but it's also the relationship with the states on Medicaid. And the Biden administration prevented some of the states from having the waivers that they need to manage the Medicaid program. This is an opportunity. And so there's some traditional things that just need to be done. It doesn't take an RFK Jr. to make those policy changes. But he will be visual, he will be disruptive, and that's why he's there.
That's what they want to do. They want to shake things up. We get that. We've been reporting that. I mean, I think that's what the Pete Hegseth thing at DOD is about as well. That said, Governor, you know, we've had questions raised about Tulsi Gabbard on this program already about whether allies, you know, according to a former CIA officer who was with us on the show, would be willing to share intelligence with our own Director of National Intelligence if she's in that role. We've had questions raised in the last couple of days about Pete Hegseth and whether he's qualified for the job, even if he wants to shake things up as running the Defense Department. And to your point, we've already had plenty of questions raised about both RFK, but especially about Matt Gaetz. So as you look at this big picture, those last 4 appointments, you know, you can see all kinds of hyperbolic talk about what Trump is doing here. Are you legitimately concerned about any of this for the country?
Well, in terms of sharing intelligence, every country wants to have access to intelligence flow from us if they're a trusted ally, and we get intelligence from them. That's not going to break down.
Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.